A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. In a significant development for the Nile River Basin countries, a new agreement on the equitable use of water resources has officially come into force, despite notable opposition from Egypt. The Nile Basin Initiative announced this milestone following the recent joining of South Sudan to the treaty, which has now been formally recognized by the African Union. This cooperative framework is backed by Ethiopia, Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, and Tanzania, all of which have ratified the accord. However, Egypt and Sudan have opted not to sign, while the Democratic Republic of Congo abstained from the vote. Kenya's status remains uncertain, as it has yet to deposit its ratification documents with the African Union. The Nile Basin Initiative expresses that this accord represents a collective determination to harness the Nile River for the benefit of all its riparian countries, ensuring equitable and sustainable use of the river's resources for future generations. In a statement, they congratulated the governments and people of the Nile Basin nations, as well as all partners and stakeholders, for their patience, resolve, and dedication to achieving this agreement. The absence of Egypt and Sudan's ratification raises concerns over the accord's viability, particularly given the historical context of water rights in the region. Egypt and Sudan, both desert nations, have expressed fears that any new agreements could diminish their established shares of Nile water, which have been governed by a colonial-era agreement dating back to 1929. This agreement, made between Egypt and the United Kingdom, allocated a significant portion of the Nile's water resources to Egypt and Sudan, with Egypt receiving approximately 55.5 billion cubic meters and Sudan 18.5 billion cubic meters out of a total of 84 billion cubic meters, accounting for losses due to evaporation. Tensions in the region are further exacerbated by Ethiopia's construction of a $4 billion dam on the Blue Nile, a critical tributary of the Nile River. Egypt has voiced strong concerns that this dam could have catastrophic impacts on its water supply and agricultural irrigation unless Ethiopia takes Egypt's needs into account. Ethiopia, on the other hand, plans to utilize the dam primarily for electricity generation, a vital resource for its growing population and economy. The newly ratified accord states that Nile Basin states must utilize the water resources of the Nile River system in an equitable and reasonable manner within their respective territories. This clause aims to promote cooperation among the countries that share the river, but the lack of consensus, particularly from Egypt and Sudan, suggests that the implementation of this agreement may be fraught with challenges. In light of the ongoing dispute with Ethiopia, Egypt has recently taken steps to bolster its position in the Horn of Africa. This includes pledging security cooperation with Somalia, which has been opposed to Ethiopia's ambitions for access to the sea through the Somali breakaway territory of Somaliland. Under a new agreement reached last week, Egypt may deploy peacekeeping troops to Somalia when the mandate of the current African Union peacekeepers expires at the end of 2024. As the situation develops, it remains unclear how Egypt will respond to the newly enacted Nile Accord. The country, a founding member of the Nile Basin Initiative, has historically maintained that its rights to Nile water are protected under the terms of the 1929 agreement, which did not account for the interests of other nations along the river basin. As negotiations and regional dynamics continue to evolve, the implications of this agreement will be closely monitored by stakeholders both within and outside the Nile Basin countries. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.